Please rise. Please be seated. Welcome to this day of celebration and recognition. I would first like to thank the ROTC officers and the members of the ROTC units for ushering and for the color guard. I would also like to recognize and thank Dr. Gloria Craig and Dr. Patty Hacker, who are serving today as our faculty marshals. The concert band, under the direction of Mr. James Cool, we thank you for your marvelous contribution to these ceremonies. And to Dr. Laura Diddle Hilderbrand and the SDSU's Women's Choir, we thank you as well for your great gift of song to our festivities today. There is a professional photographer here so that your mothers will get just the right picture of each of you. So if you will try to keep the path clear for the photographer, that'll make peace in your families. It's a good thing to do. But families, feel free to take all the pictures that you want after that one. And I also want to stress the importance of staying until the end of the ceremonies. There is disruption when you have to move, and I know there are parties planned, and if you're in the first part of the alphabet, maybe you want to hurry along and get there. But if you will wait till the very end, then all graduates receive the full recognition and I'm sure we'll count on your cooperation for that. Now I would like to introduce our two honorary marshals today, and I would like to call forward Dr. David Hilderbrand and Mrs. Mary Perpich. Dean Hilderbrand. Dean Hilderbrand of the Graduate School and was Vice President for Research and Sponsored Programs. He retired in June 2004 after 30 years of dedicated services to SDSU. The Board of Regents awarded Dr. Hilderbrand the title of Dean of the Graduate School Research and Sponsored Programs and Professor of Chemistry Emeritus. He continues to provide expertise and leadership on special projects on the campus and teaches chemistry part-time at the South Dakota Public Universities at the University Center in Sioux Falls. More detailed information about him may be found in your program. Dean Hilderbrand, thank you for your service today. Our other faculty marshal is Ms. Mary Perpich. Ms. Perpich is an associate professor of journalism and mass communication, and she retired in 2004 after 19 years of service to South Dakota State University. The Board of Regents have also awarded her the title of Associate Professor Emerita of Journalism and Mass Communication. More detailed description of her career and her accomplishments may be found in your program. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
And now it's my pleasure to introduce to you the members who will not be introduced later, who are members of our platform party. If they would stand and you would hold your applause until all have been introduced, I will begin with Dr. Robert Tad Perry, Regent Harvey Jewett, Regent Dean Krogman, Regent Carol Pagonis, Regent Richard Bellotti, Regent Tonis Van Heusen, President Emeritus Robert Wagner, President Emeritus Sherwood Bird, Executive Vice President for Administration Mike Rieger, Dr. Brian Katz, Dean of Pharmacy, Dr. Madish Ramus, Vice President for Student Services, Dr. Robert Burns, Dean of the Honors College. Will you join me in recognizing these important contributors to the university? Thank you for all that you do for students, their families, and all at SDSU. There's another group of individuals whose names do not appear in the program and who are not seated on the platform today. They are the people who have been your parents, your loved ones, your sponsors, your mentors, your significant others, without whose support and assistance you might not have reached this day. So will all the graduates stand and with me give a round of applause to all those people who are here to honor and support you. Thank you. I know that's heartfelt, and just think there won't be any more letters that say send money. It is now my real pleasure to introduce to you the SDSU Women's Choir. They will sing the Gloria.
Gloria, Gloria.
Thank you so much. It is now my pleasure to welcome your speaker for today, Dr. Steve Marquardt. Dean Marquardt came to South Dakota State in 1996 when he was appointed the Dean of Libraries. And during his tenure here, we've moved from mainly a paper library to an electronic library. And it's been through his leadership that we have been able to do this. He will retire after 10 years of service, and he has developed many friends and great respect for his professionalism, his creativity, and his vision in providing us those information resources that are the heart of the university. Details about his career appear in your program, and I urge you to read them. He has done many things in his years in higher education. And join me now, please, in welcoming Dean Marquardt to make the address for today, Rights, Privileges, and Responsibilities Pertaining Thereto. Dean Marquardt.
Students, fellow faculty, family, and friends, a librarian is about to deliver your commencement address. How lucky can you be? Be prepared, therefore, for some verbal footnotes. I found some relevant insights for today's talk from America's greatest humorist, Will Rogers. Being both part Indian and a full-time roping riding cowboy, his wit and wisdom are appropriate for us in South Dakota. I'll also borrow a couple of ideas from a recent commencement address by former Stanford University Provost Condoleezza Rice on the theme of the obligations of an educated person. But first I'll quote Abraham Lincoln, who in his Gettysburg Address said, "The world will little note nor long remember what we say here." Lincoln's words almost always apply to commencement addresses too. I remember no words at all from my commencement, but at our small Christian college for small Christians, we also had a baccalaureate service at which a pastor in our city admonished us to, quote, "avoid the lusts of the flesh," unquote. He did not provide any examples of those, but I suspected that for many of us, this advice had already come too late. And still, his advice was nevertheless memorable. What we take from commencement is less important than what we take from our college education. What does endure from our university experience? There's an old ditty that goes, "The more you learn, the more you know. The more you know, the more you forget. The more you forget, the less you know. So why study?" Henry David Thoreau wrote that only when we forget what we were taught do we start to have real knowledge. If that 19th century statement remains true, it fits neatly next to the words of 20th century management guru and writer Tom Peters, who described the pursuit of knowledge in this way: "In the brain-based global economy, victory will go to the perpetually curious." A true liberal arts education or general education core curriculum should create a perpetually curious citizen. In today's age of information, knowledge comes quickly and quickly goes. For example, our library here at SDSU has in remote storage a collection of old books about nursing techniques. Books important for history, but so obsolete that we don't want our students to get their hands on them. Fortunately for librarians, this ever-changing, ever-growing nature of knowledge is a full employment act for us to organize, preserve, and locate the growing volume of knowledge that's stored away somewhere. The role of the citizen is to use this knowledge as the basis of social or political action. And here it is that we come to the very serious and endearing ideas that are connected to the words that President Miller will soon pronounce as your degrees are authorized, words that will, quote, "confer upon each of you the degree with all its rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto." Rights. What are these rights pertaining thereto? Every day the news is filled with talk of rights. Human rights, civil rights, voting rights, women's rights, the right to bear arms, gay rights, Native American treaty rights, the rights of the unborn, consumer rights, the right to an education, and even animal rights. One right that you gain today is the right to be considered for a better job, but that is based on a yet more fundamental right pertaining to your degree, which is the very possession of an education that no one can take from you. Unlike real estate or a business or stocks or bonds or even marriage or your very freedom, an education is something that no one can take from you. After today, you can never leave the ranks of the educated, and from our ranks you can never be expelled. And what are the privileges? Privileges need little explanation or elaboration. Beyond the obvious prospect of increased personal income is a prospect of further knowledge and wisdom. You have now learned how to continue your quest for knowledge and wisdom for the rest of your life. With this ironclad grip on your rights and endowed with your intellectual gifts and the privileged prospect of affluence and the power of knowledge, you have also responsibilities. As educated persons, we have responsibilities to our fellow human beings who lack the rights and the privileges that we enjoy. We have a responsibility to those less fortunate than we are, to mentor them and support their efforts to better themselves and their lives. We also owe our fellow citizens our respect, especially those not as fortunate as we. Those of us with university degrees often ascribe our good fortune to our intelligence and hard work. But merit alone has not brought you to this point. Dr. Rice put this well in her talk. There are many people in this country, many from your hometown, some even from your own high school, who are just as intelligent, just as hardworking, just as deserving. But for whatever reason, they did not enjoy all of the opportunities that came your way. Don't ever forget that, unquote. Just because you deserve something does not always mean fortune will provide it. At the same time, don't ever assume that just because you got something, you necessarily deserved it. Similarly, do not let your education and your good luck lead you into false pride or condescension. Will Rogers reminds us that, quote, everyone is ignorant only in different subjects, unquote. Secondly, we need to defend the rights of those whose rights are violated, and they are legion. I have long been involved in Amnesty International. When the Soviet Union collapsed and the armed conflicts in Central America were resolved, the positive turn of events was so overwhelming that I thought to myself, what do we in the human rights movement do now? Perhaps our work here is done. But then came the troubles in the Balkans, genocide in Rwanda, civil wars in Africa, widespread murders and imprisonments of journalists around the globe. And in our own country, more than 120 death row prisoners found to be innocent in the last 25 years, secret prisons in Europe, and our own use of torture and indefinite detention without charge or trial. At home and abroad, human rights still need defending. Educated people have another responsibility, to recognize and close the cultural gaps that divide our nation and our world. One reason that universities pursue diversity is that the differences among us should not be sources of fear, but opportunities to learn. The Quran says it well, that the diversity among peoples is a sign of the beneficence of Allah and a sign for the knowing. At the same time, you need not lay down your own values and your own convictions when building a bridge across cultures. Will Rogers reminds us that sometimes being broad-minded is just another way of saying that a fellow is too lazy to form an opinion. We should not become so open-minded that our brains fall out. In your life's work, after you leave SDSU, you will continue to meet people from different places, different backgrounds, different cultures, and different religions. What you have learned at SDSU should instill in you the responsibility to help bridge these differences. Not long ago, we were told that freedom was not part of the Russian character, that Latin American nations would always be military dictatorships, that Asian values were incompatible with democracy, and that Africa would always be the home of one-party corrupt tyrannies. Those allegedly impermeable cultures have been revealing manifestations of new values, or perhaps it's only the normal human aspirations for rights and privileges that are now eroding away the rigid political structures that once seemed to be set in stone. The last but not least responsibility I leave with you is optimism. Despite the many problems I've listed, the educated person has a responsibility to be optimistic, to forswear the temptation to pessimism, cynicism, and despair. As Will Rogers predicted back in the Great Depression, things will get better despite our efforts to improve them. I once worked for a man whose education included a doctorate from Harvard University. He astonished me one day by saying that it did no good to write a letter to a congressman or senator because it doesn't make any difference. As a human rights activist who'd already successfully lobbied a congressman, I knew from personal experience my pessimistic boss was wrong. Some years later here in South Dakota, I traveled out to Pierre as a private citizen to lobby one of our representatives. I managed to persuade him to vote in favor of a ban against execution of juvenile offenders. His vote resulted in passage by only 2 votes. Had he voted no, this bill would have failed on a tie vote. That same year, the state of Wyoming passed a similar ban into law. A few months later, the U.S. Supreme Court cited this growing national consensus of 33 states when it declared executions of underage offenders to be unconstitutional. Now the United States finds itself poised to join 192 other nations that have already ratified the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. We in Somalia were the only holdouts. The USA could not ratify this convention while it still executed juvenile offenders. The greatest nation in the world today needs to be a leader and not a follower in human rights. Small efforts like a day of lobbying in Pierre can lead on to great results even on the international scene. Optimism requires work. Secretary Rice advised her audience, optimists move and shape history because those with a vision of a better world have the energy and discipline required to make those visions real. With all that you know now, you have no excuse not to be optimists. Pessimism is the easy way out, unquote. Indeed, I would add that pessimism is the posture of couch potatoes, content to sit on the sidelines and watch others join the march of history. I encourage you to stay optimistic and join the parade. Clearly, there's plenty of work ahead to fulfill the responsibilities of optimists endowed with rights and privileges. But once you find your own personal field of responsibility, whether at the local, state, national, or international level, this work will not be heavy. To the contrary, its yoke will be easy and its burden light, and it will make you glad to be alive once you find your passion, your bliss, your calling that will inspire your life's contribution as a citizen of our nation and the world. It has been my honor and privilege to serve you and share these thoughts with you today. Enjoy your hard-earned rights, your privileges, and yes, also your coming responsibilities. I send my congratulations and best wishes to you, your parents, families, and friends, and others who have had the privilege to have helped you to arrive at this happy day.
Thank you, Dean Marquardt. I would like now to give you a certificate of recognition for your participation and contribution to us today. That's a privilege. And you thought you were all through when you won those degrees. There's still more to be done. The university is proud of all her sons and daughters, but we take a special measure of pride in those who've excelled academically. And so at this time, I will invite to the podium Provost Carol Peterson, who will recognize those students who are graduating with honors, as well as our award-winning faculty. Dr. Peterson.
We have noted in the program those members of the graduating class whose records signified them as graduating with honors and or graduating from the Honors College. In addition, SDSU has recently initiated students into the National Honor Society of Phi Kappa Phi. The members are elected from every branch of the arts, sciences, humanities, and the professional colleges. Only those in the top 10% of the senior class are eligible for election to Phi Kappa Phi. This morning, we want to recognize those who have achieved this type of scholastic record. Will all those who are graduating with honors and those who have joined Phi Kappa Phi please stand and be recognized. It is now my pleasure to introduce award-winning faculty and staff members. Today we have several recipients of the F.O. Butler Award. South Dakota State University is able to make these awards available because of the generosity of Frank O. Butler, a Chicago businessman with a great love for South Dakota. Mr. Butler, who died in 1955, had a deep interest in land, livestock, and agriculture generally. In 1944, Mr. Butler gave the major portion of the Hot Springs 7-Eleven Ranch and a trust fund to South Dakota State University. Income from this generous gift to the university is being used for student scholarships and these faculty awards. The descriptions of the individual accomplishments of these faculty and staff members appear in your program. Will these persons please come forward to receive their awards? The recipients of these awards are Dr. Timothy J. Nichols for excellence in service, Dr. Ann Fennell for excellence in research, Dr. K. Muthu Kum Karaman for excellence in research, respectfully known on campus as Dr. Muthu, Dr. Marie Puri Baguette for excellence in teaching.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Dr. Baguette.
Thank you, Vice President Peterson. These elegant ceremonies which we have today to recognize all of your accomplishments as students and faculty take a great deal of work and organization. It is Vice President Peterson and her committee that make that possible. Would you join me in recognizing her today? Lieutenant Colonel Craig Bond, Professor of Aerospace Studies and Professor of Military Science, will recognize our candidates for commissioning today. Colonel Bond.
President Miller, on behalf of the Professor of Military Science, Lieutenant Colonel Mike Herman, and myself, it is a privilege to recognize the graduates who will be commissioned as second lieutenants into the United States Army and Air Force in a ceremony later today. We have one graduate commissioning into the Air Force later today, Trampus R. Howe. Mr. Howe is an Air Force ROTC distinguished graduate. He will be a communications officer and is assigned to Patrick Air Force Base, Florida, after his initial training at Keesler Air Force Base, Mississippi. Please join me in applauding Mr. Howe again and all those who continue to put their lives on the line to protect and defend our freedoms and privileges. God bless America.
Thank you. Mrs. Peggy Bechtold, President of the SDSU Alumni Association, will now recognize the graduates as you've become members of the Alumni Association.
On behalf of the 60,000 members of the SDSU Alumni Association, I send warm greetings and hearty congratulations to every individual of the graduating class. By virtue of completing the requirements of your degree, you are now a member of the Alumni Association. In the coming years, you will discover 3 things about the time you spent at this special place. First, the education you received here will allow you to compete with anybody. Second, the values you leave with have been strengthened during the time you spent on this campus. And third, the many friends you have made will become lifelong friends. When many of you arrived on this campus as freshmen just a few years ago, you attended a picnic at the beautiful Coolidge-Sylvan Theater. At that picnic, aptly named A Stately Beginning, students were given a unique coin. On the coin are the words, "Once a student, forever an alum." The students were encouraged to take the coin, drop it in a fountain, and make a wish for their college career. We would like to think that your wishes come true. The students after walking off this stage today, each member of the graduating class will receive a coin from the members of Staters for State, our student alumni group. We promised that we would return that coin to you. Today, we fulfill the promise. This gift to you is a reminder that you will always be a part of the proud history of a great institution. Our pledge to you as new members of the SDSU Alumni Association is that we will do our best to keep you connected to your alma mater. As President Miller is fond of reminding us, we are all members of a great family. Today and forevermore, you will be a jackrabbit. Congratulations, graduates. Make us proud.
Does it seem that long ago when you tossed your coin in the fountain? Maybe so. It is now my great pleasure to introduce the Honorable Dean Krogman, member of the Board of Regents, who will authorize the conferral of your degrees. Dean Krogman.
Thank you, President Miller. I'm getting a little concerned here the way this is moving along. I'm not going to have much of a chance of winning that quarter pool. I heard a speech that was given to the graduating class about, 3 years ago, right here by V.J. Smith. And the title of it was, "What am I going to do to be happy?" Inferring the graduates have already done a lot, and now what am I going to do to be happy? And I thought that was kind of odd at the time. But then I thought about it for a little bit, and when my oldest son was graduating, I remember sitting up in the bleachers over there and thinking, get a job and make us both happy. Jim Baker wrote a book this year, and it's Jim Baker is probably arguably, regardless of the politics that you have, one of the most respected government people in Washington, still is as co-chair of the Iraqi Commission. He started out unprecedented, where he was running the campaign for Gerald Ford and against Ronald Reagan, and before he left Washington on the inauguration day of Ronald Reagan, President Reagan asked him to stay and actually hired him as his chief of staff, which would give you an indication, if you understand the loyalties of the candidates in politics and the jobs that go with it, it's pretty impressive. The title of his book is Work Hard, Study Hard, and Stay Out of Politics. And I can relate to that, not to the work hard or the study hard, but after working in politics for 25 years, and just the other day my wife says, why don't you get a real job? You can understand the politics side of it. But in that book, the theme that he constantly brought about was in reference to 5 P's. And the P's represented proper preparation prevents poor performance. And he referenced that many times by just saying the 5 P's in reference to how he had to prepare. On the jobs theme and the success formula that a lot of people talk about, you have started on the proper preparation. The first point of the formula to success is a sound education, and you've done that. The second is a work ethic, a sound work ethic. Midwesterners are known for their work ethic. The third point is having the opportunities. I think it was Bob Stevens who said, getting a job will earn you a living, but making your job will earn you a fortune. Some of you will be able to see opportunities and they'll pass you by. Others will take advantage of them. The fourth point in the ability to be successful is to be able to make good choices, good decisions. And that's recognizing those opportunities. The fifth one, and probably the most important, is the ability to develop relationships. Some of you can do that easily, others it becomes a chore to do. But the point is that developing relationships may relate to a job, it'll relate more to your own personal development. And as you look for jobs, you'll find human resource people, and you've probably heard the story where they put one set of resumes on one side and another set of resumes on the other side. And let me tell you why they do that. You really do have an advantage with this tool, because good recruiters, good HR people know that with that degree, when you come to a job, you will be to work on time. That's an assumption that they can make. They can assume that you know how to complete assignments on time. They can assume that even if you don't have the answer to the job, answer to the point that they need an answer to, you have an idea where to look for it. And they also know that you've had some tough tasks to do. Quitting wasn't an option. So going out into the interview market, and when you have an inexperienced interviewer talking to you about what can you do for them, you got 3 or 4 points you can bring up. And they're points that you have earned, that you have shown you deserve. So with that, Dr. Miller, on this 125th anniversary of South Dakota State University, it's my privilege to, under the authority given to the Board of Regents by the state of South Dakota and its people, I hereby authorize you to confer the appropriate degrees with all the rights, privileges, responsibilities pertaining thereto. And before we do that, I'd like to have the students again recognize the people who really are the reason you're where you're at today in those seats, and that's the faculty. Please join me in thanking them. One other thing, we don't have jobs for everybody, but we don't export as much as people think. 80% of the in-state students stay in the state. 50% of the out-of-state students stay in the state. But we obviously don't have all the jobs. But we don't want you to forget us, and you probably don't want to forget us. But we have 3 groups that make sure they stay in touch with you. One is the Alumni Association, one's the foundation, and the other is the IRS, and we hope you make a lot of money because they're all going to be asking for it. Dr. Miller.
Thank you very much, Regent Krogman. South Dakota State University has a long tradition of awarding honorary degrees. It's the highest form of recognition we can give an outstanding alumnus, friend, or an associate of the university. And I ask Provost Peterson and Dean Kevin Kephart to assist me with this recognition. Today, we are honoring Dr. Mary Catherine Wagner with the honorary degree, Doctor of Public Service. The award is being presented posthumously, and President Emeritus Robert Wagner will accept the award on her behalf. Mary Kay Wagner was born and raised in Howard, South Dakota, and obtained an undergraduate degree from the University of South Dakota, a master's and a PhD degree from South Dakota State. She has been honored by both institutions as a distinguished alumna. As a student, instructor, civic leader, state representative, state senator, and First Lady of South Dakota State University, Dr. Wagner carried out her role with dignity and grace. She met many educational, social, economic, and political challenges, and she used her many talents and her energy to improve the welfare of the community and the state and this university. She gained a reputation as a state legislature as one who put in time, much great time in preparation for the numerous issues that came before her. In addition to her numerous accomplishments and accolades, she never forgot to give praise and gratitude to those she met along the way. For these many reasons and her multiple contributions to South Dakota State University and the state of South Dakota, it is most appropriate that SDSU recognize Mary Kay Wagner for her many years of devoted service and her extraordinary contributions. Therefore, South Dakota State University confers on Dr. Mary Catherine Wagner the honorary degree, Doctor of Public Service, posthumously. The candidates for associate and bachelor's degrees will be presented by the chairperson of the Academic Senate, Mr. Joel Heffling.
The students whose names appear on the printed program for this graduation have been approved by the faculty of South Dakota State University and the Regents of Education to receive the various degrees: Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Education, Bachelor of Music Education, Bachelor of Science, or Associate of Arts or Science degrees upon satisfactory completion of the necessary degree requirements. Will all of those who are to receive these associate and bachelor's degrees at President Miller's final commencement please stand at this time? I invite you to take this moment to express our thanks to President Miller for her guidance during your undergraduate career. President Miller, I take pleasure in presenting these candidates for your final graduation in order that you may confer upon them the degrees in their respective fields.
By virtue of the authority delegated to me by the Regents of Higher Education of the state of South Dakota, I confer upon each of you the degree Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Music Education, Bachelor of Science, or Associate of Arts and Science degree in your chosen field upon satisfactory completion of the degree requirements, with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto. Will those who are candidates for these degrees now present themselves on the stage for recognition? You will come forward by college and be introduced by your college deans. Those waiting for their recognition may be seated. Dr. Gary Lemme, Dean of the College of Agricultural and Biological Sciences, will recognize the graduates of the College of Agriculture and Biological Sciences. Dean Lemme.
President Miller, the following graduates of the College of Agriculture and Biological Sciences are well trained in their professions and industries, which are so necessary for the well-being of our nation and our world. Becky Alexander. William Ellegar. Neil Brainbridge. Michael Bosch. Brian Butler. Christopher Clellan. Wade DeGroat. Chet Delbridge. Steve Venny. David Dorfenhaus. Justin Enfield. Heidi Brantonreiter. Justin Freeland. Daniel Fitchie. Ross Glanzer. Jessica Gleckler. Simon Healy. Jared Hendrickson. Ann Henry. Mindy Kirkpatrick. Sean Klein. Kyle Knott. Scott Link. Carrie Gorshi. Todd Lippert. Jacob Lobrig. Sally Loschke. Corey Miner. Sarah Moore. Douglas Meyer. Jared Nemkin. Daniel Nelson. Bradley Nischheim. Wade Orlog. Samantha Pauley. Bryce Peterson. Sean Rausch. Josh Rausch. Jeremy Reiser. Grant Ricks. Kip Rao. Natasha Fadosky. Ryan Sanders. Greta Schnanning. Dustin Sheely. Derek Schumacher. Matthew Spindler. Emily Strangler. Jared Stigler. Tracy Stottenar. Sarah Strotmeyer. Nicholas Straley. Jamie Swan. Jeez. Andrew Van Norden. Justin Van Westen. Scott Werning. Tyler Weidman. Lindsay Willett.
Dr. Jerry Jorgensen, Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences, will introduce the graduates of the College of Arts and Sciences. Dean Jorgensen.
President Miller, the following graduates of the College of Arts and Science have demonstrated ability in their various disciplines and will now enter their professions to strengthen the vitality of our state, nation, and world. Drew Anderson.
Hi, Drew. Congratulations.
Thomas Burden.
Tom, congratulations.
Wesley Buska.
Is yours? Is yours?
Where are we at here? Right here? Okay. Tanya Disher. Yeah. Brian Dix. Molly Dorsey. Daniel Doris. Dustin Edmondson. Brent Gades. Michael Hannon. Ryan Kauscher. Maud Livings. Nathan Locker. Evan Meyer. Jennifer Morgan. Ooh, what happened?
In case your sons and daughters you think had told you they were studying in a different field, they were not. All of the graduates from the College of Agriculture and Biological Sciences had not come to the podium. These are not arts and sciences graduates. So they were telling you the story straight, and so we still have agricultural and biological sciences graduates, and they are proceeding across the stage at the moment. All right.
All right. Did I read yours? Kristen Nelson. Oops. Lisa Ordrea. Danny Phillips. Dana Reese. Daniel Spingler. Melissa Staples. Jared Sterling. Nicholas Strom. Michelle Temple. Ross Vanderverst. Laura Violin. Jeremy Whittington. Tyler Wilson. And Melva Big Eagle. Now, huh? Yes, I think I did.
Well, we don't want any of you sciences being over on the other side and vice versa. All right, Dean Jorgensen.
No, we still have the associate degrees.
All right.
The following students are arts and science. Okay.
Thank you. Now, President Miller, the following graduates of the College of Arts and Science have demonstrated abilities in various fields and ready to strengthen the vitality of our state, nation, and world. Okay. Christy Anderson. Paige Bankson. Melissa Behrens. Dakota Bixler. Sheena Eggers. Jessica Eichmeyer. Amy Finnegan. Nicole Hassey. Jessica Hayes. Erica Klein. Kelly Lucas. Ashley Munsterman. Teresa Oberding. Jamie Solonen. Mallory Sitter. Susan Thompson. Jane Cheddar. Tracy Weinecke. Teresa DiRenzo. Melissa Miller. Colleen Aaron. Travis Aarons. Michael Appletoff. Ann Elisa. Michael Bertram. Ashley Bolstead. Jamie Borchert. Jordan Bedorf. Alicia Brown. Tara Bundy. Justin Bush. Emily Christensen. Justin Clark. Joseph Crawford. Sarah Dahlmeyer. Darren DeBoer. Amanda Depew. Benjamin DeWard. Noel Dossett. Philip Erickson. Melissa Froelich. Susan Gilkerson. Corey Goldhammer. Corey Haken. Casey Hall. Eric Hansen. Daniel Harders. Kayleen Holland. Scott Irwin. Ryan Jacobson. Celesta Jansen. Joshua Jansen. Tamara January. Lisa Jardine. Cynthia Johnson Edler. Kimberly Jordette. Laura Klein. Jay Knobloch. Brian Kodette. Jolynn Kruger. Kara Lindquist. Kristen Lingbird. Nathan Moz. Amira Macram. Kristen Marthaler. Kelly Mazer. Lisa McCormick. Tracy McMahon. Zachary Nevin. Megan Nelson. Stephanie Knoll. Austin Olivier. Colleen Olson. Jeffrey Reed. Sarah Rendells. Susan Rohan. Lacey Rollin. Ross Lolinger. Palamon Romero. Carrie Schickadance. Abby Schmidt. Julie Schmotzer. Michael Schooley. Michelle Schreier. Paul Schrader. Ashley Scott. Trevor Slate. Katie Schmidt. Barbara St. Clair. Kelly Steben. Giles Stifter. Lindsay Stoser. Robert Stoser. Luke Schwartz. Kyle Saido. Rachel Thompson. Darren Vandenberg. Jill Vanderwerf. Isaiah Waddell. Meredith Whiff. And Natasha Whitey.
Interim Dean Howard Smith of the College of Education and Counseling will introduce the graduates of the College of Education and Counseling.
President Miller, the following graduates are prepared to teach career and technical education at secondary and post-secondary levels, resulting in the preparation of students for meaningful employment. Andrew Harmon. Trent Schaefer. President Miller, we have majors in other colleges who have also prepared themselves to be teachers. Will those who have taken the teacher education curriculum for certification as teachers please rise and be recognized?
Dr. Lewis Brown, Dean of the College of Engineering, will introduce the graduates of the College of Engineering.
President Miller, the following graduates are prepared to engage in the practice of engineering, the sciences, mathematics, and technology, and to apply their knowledge of our human and natural resources to promote the general welfare of all people. Stephen Bly. Charles Heinge. David Hove. Daniel Weddle. Christopher Behrens. Michael Cunningham. Stacy Duchesne. Andrew Fry. Brian Golden. Zachary Gutzmer. Andrew Kangas. Brian Canadle. Christopher Larson. Jeremiah McMahon. Michael Marin. Ryan Norman. Jason Schaefer. Joseph Stadheim. Chad Stripling. Trampus Howe. Michael Morris. Jared Schwader. Jared Brake. Thomas Hauglid. Andrew Heckman. Gabriel Konigsfeld. Tyler Lee. Kyle Mock. Abigail Mueller. Jeffrey Nuss. Alex Salmon. Cody Shield. David Schmidt. Caleb Tegan. Brad Timmons. James Vavra. Tanner Connect. Russell Vanderwerf. Jack Winter. Ryan Bomberger. Brian Davis. Tyler Denai. Lance Dyer. Adam Page. Eric Person. Zachary Stussy. Shane Eastman. Travis Mankey. Joshua Mulder. Eric Dobbs, James Feldhacker, John Feldhacker, Jeffrey Halliburton, Christopher Livermont, Josh Longino, Anthony Lund, Robert Milbrandt, Matthew Nelson, Michael Nelson, Jessica Pettibone, Scott Radigan, Trevor Rolandhagen, Eric Young, Ryan Clausen, Matthew Small.
Dr. C.Y. Wang, Acting Dean of the College of Family and Consumer Sciences, will introduce the graduate of the College of Family and Consumer Sciences.
President Miller, the following graduates of the College of Family and Consumer Sciences are capable of strengthening society in business, government, industry, and education through professional service to the most important unit, the family. Lacey Anderson, Danielle Bondi, Lindsay Bauer, Travis Bicey, Darcy Dykes, Nicole Emilson, Jane Fox, Joni Gilbert, Anna Huford, Carrie Jacobson, Melissa Jensen, Chrissy Johnson, Daniel Coleman, Amy Carstens, Ashley Kirsch, Matthew Klein, Anna Koenig, Amy Lessig, Robin Lays, Marcy Loning, Corey Macias, Kimberly McCline, Crystal Mandel, Clinton Miner, Kylie Mitchell, Cassandra Monson, Amanda Pasek, Larry Paulson, Jennifer Fanning, Lisa Riley, Jackie Shelsky, Lynn Stevens, Vanipa Tomovan, Sarah Thomas, Tessie Winterton.
Dr. Keith Corbett, Interim Dean of the College of General Studies, will introduce the graduates of the College of General Studies.
President Miller, the following graduates of the College of General Studies are prepared to provide leadership and to make a positive contribution to our society and our world. They have obtained a broad-based education through their individually selected programs of study. Gary Brand, Alan Vanderwerf, Samantha Buchanan, Laura Kinslow, Marianne McCowan, and Megan Millett.
Dr. Roberta Olson, Dean of the College of Nursing, will introduce the graduates of the College of Nursing. Dean Olson.
President Miller, the following graduates of the College of Nursing are professional nurses prepared to minister to the health needs of our people. Lori Ask. Jason Balt. Tracy Barta. Corinne Bott. Megan Breikreitz. Victoria Campbell. Eric Clark. Wyatt Cole. Tracy Dahlberg. Emily Delbridge. Jennifer Demers. Ryan Eggeberg. Jacqueline Foster. Sheila Haber. Christopher Hesch. Jessica Henry. Stephanie Halens. Megan Hone. Keith Holt. Luke Jobman. Jacqueline Johnson. Melissa Kalsbeck. Abby Kitto. Christy Clarenbeek. Megan Cruz. Ashley Larson. Amy Law. Vicki Lemberg. Heather Lingle. Audra Matson. Christine May. Carrie Metzger. Amanda Meyer. Crystal Nielsen. Aaron Peterson. Elizabeth Peer. Megan Poppins. Christy Rotzloff. Emily Richter. Lindsay Roberts. Sandra Roosh. Jacqueline Schmidt. Lori Schmidt. Russell Skovland. Ivana Stefanovic. Julia Stefix. Sarah Taylor. Catherine Tornberg. Amanda Von Manen. Chantel Willie.
The Regents of Higher Education in the state of South Dakota have authorized South Dakota State University to offer graduate study leading to the Doctor of Philosophy degree. Dr. Kevin Kephart, Dean of the Graduate School, will present the candidates for the doctoral degree.
Thank you, President Miller. The highest earned academic degree is that of Doctorate of Philosophy. Generally, 5 years beyond the bachelor's degree is necessary to complete the PhD requirement. Formal coursework and seminars are a part of this degree, and in addition, the successful candidates extend the limits of knowledge of society by presenting the results of original research that has stood the test of their academic superiors. President Miller, we have 5 candidates who have accomplished this and have satisfied the graduate faculty that they are worthy recipients of this degree. The titles of their research are printed in the program. I take pleasure in presenting these persons in order that you may confer upon them the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Mr. Aaron Floyd Harmon, whose major professor is Dr. Michael Hildreth. If you could stand up, please. Mr. David P. Olson, whose major advisor is Dr. Donna Hess. Miss Denise A. Rodert, whose major advisor is also Dr. Donna Hess. Miss Kirsten Lynn Schuler, whose major advisor is Dr. Jonathan Jenks. And Mr. David G. Ferris, whose major advisor is Dr. Jihong Kol Dai, will be presented today by Dr. James Rice.
By virtue of the authority delegated to me by the Regents of Higher Education of the state of South Dakota, I confer upon you the degree Doctor of Philosophy with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto. Will the candidates please proceed to the stage accompanied by your major professors, where you will receive your doctoral hood from Dean Kephart and your major advisor, and then the major advisor will introduce the candidate.
President Miller, it is my privilege and pleasure to introduce to you and those assembled here Dr. David G. Ferris, whose field of study was chemistry.
President Miller, I'm very pleased to introduce to you and to all who are assembled Dr. Aaron Floyd Harmon, whose field of study was biological.
President Miller, I'm pleased to introduce to you and those assembled Dr. David Olson, whose field of study was sociology. Dr. Miller, I'm pleased to introduce to you and those assembled Dr. Denise Rodert, whose field of study was sociology.
President Miller, I'm pleased to introduce to you and those assembled Dr. Kristen Lynn Schuler. Dr. Schuler's field of study was biological sciences.
Dr. South Dakota State University offers graduate study leading to the Master of Arts, Master of Education, and Master of Science degrees. Dean Kephart will present the candidates nominated for the master's degrees. Dean Kephart.
Thank you, President Miller. Will those who are to receive the Master of Arts, Master of Education, and Master of Science degrees please stand? President Miller, upon satisfactory completion of the graduate faculty requirements for their respective degrees, these candidates will have demonstrated a competency to serve society in their chosen fields. Therefore, I take pleasure in presenting them to you in order that you may confer upon them the appropriate master's degrees.
By virtue of the authority delegated to me by the Regents of Higher Education of the State of South Dakota, I confer upon each of you the appropriate master's degrees with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto. And will those of you who are candidates for these degrees please present yourselves to the stage for recognition.
Bernard Adusi. Jennifer Kluk. Justin Kieser. Amy Peterson. Mitchell Zur. Rama Akula. Pamela Anderson. Ibrahim Babiker. Rebecca Bender. Rijan Bandahir. Santosh Bhattacharya. Eileen Bruner. Shelley Buntiger. Elizabeth Case. Jessica Clark. Dawn Conrad. Bed Dawadi. Julie Doss. Amy Forbes. Sunil Gadam. Aparna Gavandi. Amanda Gill. Jennifer Grease. Luke Hayes. Greg Heberger. Carmen Jensen. Laura Jewell. Suresh Kanduru. Sanjeeva Kanduri. Atul Karn. Carol Kicker. Sriram Kapikar. Naraju Kurapati. Amanda McNelly. Abigail Meader. Michelle Melvin. Sanjay Mishra. Wakel Molinar. Mauser Mustafa. Ganga Prasada Nagamala. Sudarshan Pujala. Rajiv Ravi. Greg Reeks. Todd Russell. Angela Sanborn. Rebecca Smith. Ashley Steinke. Sarah Tucker. Diane Walter. Jingjin Wong. Cynthia Weston.
Now you have come to a central moment in these ceremonies. If you have not already done so, I invite you to turn the tassel on your cap to the left side to show that you truly are a college graduate. I certainly didn't have to ask the audience to applaud these graduates because we were all ready to do so. I now turn the program to Vice President Peterson for some special closing remarks. Vice President Peterson.
At this time, I would like to ask Regent Harvey Jewett, President of the South Dakota Board of Regents, to come forward to make a special presentation. Regent Jewett.
Thank you. I too want to congratulate the students and the faculty, parents and families on this really joyous occasion. But this is also a bittersweet occasion for those of us at South Dakota State University, as this will be President Peggy Miller's last graduation as president. As you all know, she will be retiring at the end of the year. We didn't want to let this go, this opportunity go, without making a special acknowledgement of the just extraordinary job that President Miller has done for the last 9 years in leading this institution. The president of a university has to be one of the world's best jobs. It's an opportunity to inspire and lead and focus and energize an institution, a growing, dynamic, thriving institution such as South Dakota State University. When we interviewed Dr. Miller many years ago, she asked us at that time what the Regents expected of her. And we had a pretty clear answer. We told her this was not a broken school. It didn't need fixing. We weren't hiring a fireman or a repairman. But what we wanted her to do is take this school to the next level of achievement, to take it to the next level of accomplishment, and to take it to the next level of recognition for the excellent, extraordinary place it is. And as we stand here today, I think we'd all agree that she did. It's a job well done, and her mission is accomplished. Her accomplishments are too many to mention, but the Jackrabbit Guarantee and the extraordinary advertising campaign that went with it, the huge increases in research funding, additional degrees, including PhD degrees, a D1, were accomplishments that will stand the test of time. Something that's harder to tell, something that's harder to see, but everyone on this campus knows what I'm talking about, is the wonderful relationship that she developed with the students and faculty. The feeling on this campus over the course of the last 9 years has just been a model, and it's something that other institutions will strive to achieve. She really has been, for the last 9 years, the wind beneath the wings of this wonderful place. The Regents have that they've only given out 4 times before, so this will be the 5th, and it is an honorary doctorate of public service, and it's our way of saying, Peggy, you did a wonderful job for the state of South Dakota, and nobody's ever done it better. Peggy Elliott, please.
As Regent Jewett and Van Huysen are hooding the new Dr. Miller, let me read the citation passed by the Board of Regents in this recognition. In recognition of extraordinary service and leadership to South Dakota's system of public higher education, and the South Dakota Board of Regents awards its highest honor, an honorary doctorate in public service, to Dr. Peggy Gordon Miller. Under Dr. Peggy Miller's leadership for the past 9 years, South Dakota State University has grown into a Division I university serving a record 11,377 students. The University Day is a testament to her efforts to increase scholarship opportunities, partner campus-based research activities with local and regional economic development, and upgrade the physical plant through new construction and renovation. Dr. Miller's achievements include creation of the Jackrabbit Guarantee Scholarship Program and the Lead Forward Land Grant Plan for South Dakota State University. Under her leadership, South Dakota State University experienced significant growth in contracts and grant activity, doctorate-level programming, and specialized research centers, including the Carnegie Foundation designation as a research university with high research activity. Through Dr. Miller's efforts, the Board of Regents created the Geographic Information Science Center of Excellence, a major research, teaching, and service center incorporating the combined strengths of SDSU and the Arrows Data Center scientists and scholars in a collaborative program. Dr. Miller credits a dedicated faculty and staff and strong support from students, the community, and alumni for the growth of South Dakota State University, which has been achieved through careful planning and a vision for the future. In recognition thereof, the South Dakota Board of Regents, on behalf of the citizens of South Dakota, bestow upon Dr. Peggy Gordon Miller the degree and title Honorary Doctorate of Public Service, reserved for individuals whose exceptional personal and professional contributions merit special recognition.
We've asked Dr. Miller to say a few closing words at this time.
To all the graduates, thank you for sharing this moment with me. I'll always remember your graduation. To all the university family, especially the faculty, I'm not often one to quote quarterbacks. There's a great quarterback of the Patriots who was asked why he had won 3 Super Bowls, and another very famous, talented quarterback never had, and he said the answer is simply, he didn't play on our team. Thanks for letting me play on your team. There isn't a better one. My heart is too full to say more than thank you, but please rise for the posting of the colors. If the audience will remain standing while the the platform party leaves and the graduates. Thank you, good wishes, and Godspeed.